Telling people what you're doing helps to get people involved in your project. To be successful, people need to know about what you're doing, and it shows the difference the school council or MP is making.
I'm John Bercow. I serve as Speaker of the House of Commons, and I'm the 157th person to occupy this role. I'm looking for projects where you've involved your whole school by keeping them up to date with how you're doing.
Well, if your plan or your project is something that you're doing for people, then how do you know if they want it or not, or if they approve, or if they'd like to see something different unless you talk to people?
To get everyone involved, what it is there's a year council and there's form council. So for the year council, you go to the form councils, which is 2 people from every form in your year. They have a meeting, I think, every 3 weeks.
You always know that your message is working, normally, one, when you're really bored of it yourself, because you have to repeat something a lot of times for everybody else to hear it. But also if you hear other people spontaneously talking about it, then you know that it really is starting to sink in.
Another way we have is we set up a Facebook page, and it's only been running for 3 days, but we've got over 100 members, and it's also good because that's another way of spreading information. We can post, other people can post their ideas. We've had, I think there's an argument on the page, but it helps us so we can see people's views, and that's another way. Everyone's on Facebook, so it's another way to help everyone out and how they can get involved, I suppose.
So you might find that you've got a local newspaper. I make sure that if I'm doing something, I'll tell the local newspaper about it. I'll send them a press release, just a quick outline of what's happening with a quote from me about it, and they'll often print that. A really good tip to get in the local papers is to provide a photograph if you can, and many local newspapers will send out a photographer if you're organising a photo opportunity. But then don't ignore other forms of media. Facebook, the internet, my own personal website are all ways that I can tell people what I'm doing. And of course with internet you can do it much more quickly, so you can do it in real time. Something happens that day, you can get an update on the internet as it happens.
Always have a plan for how you're going to tell people about your project. How often are you going to update the website? When will you run assemblies about it? Who is going to do these things, and what effect do you want them to have?
And then of course there's more traditional methods of campaigning and getting your message out. Leaflets and newsletters are a really key one. And don't forget just telling people. So as a politician, I go knocking on doors and speaking to local people, and in school councils, then obviously you can speak to your classmates and let them know what's going on.
We know people are listening to us because people are asking what time should we give it, what time should we come.
And another way is you actually go out and knock on doors, we call it canvassing, and actually speak to people. If you're a school council, I think the equivalent of that, we may be talking to other students at break time or at lunchtime, just chatting to people in the queue waiting to get their lunch. The school council's got this initiative on whatever it may be. Have you heard about it? What do you think of it?
My top tip for a great school council would be regular meetings and regular communications between the school council members, so everyone stays informed and everyone stays on top of what they are meant to be accomplishing.
So everyone knows what's going on, and you also report back to your form room. So if you're not part of the council, you would still know what's going on.
I can give you an example of a school council from my own constituency. It's Swain Park School, which is a secondary school in Rayleigh, and I met with their school council a few months ago, and we were having a discussion about how they could get their message across to the other students in the school. And they have a regular weekly newsletter at Swain Park called the Swain Park Times, and all the pupils get it, and they're encouraged to take it home to their parents too. And so I suggested that, say once a month, they might ask the head teacher whether they could have a column in the Swain Park Times so they could explain to the pupils and their parents what the school council was working on and how they were making progress.
We went out into the community ourselves. We did interviews with local businesses, local residents, the mayor, and local MPs, Desmond Swain, members of the council. So we went right into the community and asked them about our project, what they thought about it, what they thought was the general problems in the area, and how they think that our project would maybe benefit the area.
Telling people about your project whilst it's running is really important to keep people involved. Then, Once it's finished, entering it into the Speakers School Council Awards will create some great publicity for your school too. For more info and to enter, visit speakersschoolcouncil.org. You can also watch the next video, which is about how to judge whether your project has been a success.
Remember, the closing date for applications for the scheme is the 13th of May, so you haven't got long. You better get moving. Come on, get that application in and take part.